It's as hard as a rock. You hear that? Hard as a rock. Hola Spain food lovers, Stuart here with another food review video. I'm on the outskirts of Madrid in a neighborhood called Ensanche de Vallecas at the local shopping center, one of the biggest shopping centers in Spain, La Gavia. I'm going to go into the food court area, sit down and try one of the most famous sandwiches here in Spain, or at least Madrid, the famous squid sandwich at a place called El Brillante. I'll try something else as well, but I'm here mainly for the squid sandwich to see if it lives up to its reputation as one of the best sandwiches, not only here in Madrid, but also in Spain. So let's go and sit down and get stuck into the food today. Vamos! Now apparently this is one of the most famous sandwich places here in Madrid, El Brillante, famous for one type of sandwich, or roll I should say, as we call them back in Australia, a bread roll stuffed with different ingredients, and of course that famous roll is the squid roll, the fried calamare or fried squid roll, which many people have eaten over the journey. They do it in other places in Madrid, but apparently this was one of the first places to invent that sandwich, and now it is famous here in Madrid. And I reckon that a lot of you out there that have been to Madrid have tried the famous squid sandwich or squid roll. I've gone for the mini version. I've ordered 3 different ones to compare, but I've gone for the mini squid roll, a mini something else, and a mini something else. I'll tell you exactly what I've ordered in just a moment, because I don't want to get too full eating a big roll. So 3 mini rolls, as they are called here. We'll have a look at the menu now and I'll show you exactly what I've ordered. So, bocatas El Brillante is what I've gone for, which is the famous squid roll, the mini, €3.60. I've also gone for lomo, which is a pork loin, lomo a la plancha con pimientos, €3.60 is that one. And I've gone also for the revuelto de morcilla con huevo, €3.20. So I'm looking forward to trying these authentic mini Spanish rolls and the lovely ingredients they'll have inside. Just waiting for my buzzer to go off, so as soon as it does, I'll go and get the food. So the question is, which roll do I start with here? Do I start with the pork loin and the red and green peppers, which are roasted and look very tasty? Do I go for the blood sausage, the revuelto de morcilla, which is a bit of egg in there as well? Or do I go for the famous calamare or squid sandwich? Which one will I go for first? Let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Easy choice. Let's dig in and see if this sandwich lives up to its reputation as possibly the best sandwich in Madrid. It's up for debate. We're going to see. So let's see exactly what we've got in this sandwich. I can't see any butter. Can't see any oil, can't see any mayonnaise. I can only see a bread roll and fried squid. And how many pieces of squid have we got in the roll? 3 or 4 as far as I can tell. So not a lot going on in this roll. I reckon it's going to be fairly dry, but time will tell. Now I'm going to say the locals here rave about this sandwich, rave about this roll. They say you have to try this roll, you have to try this roll. I've tried it before, I'm going to be honest, and I wasn't overly impressed. But I'm back again today to see why people keep talking about this roll here, this bocata de calamares. Let's see, and if it redeems itself. But I reckon, as I said, it's going to be a little bit dry. Let's dig in. The squid is cooked well, it's tender, I'll give it that. But apart from that, there's not a lot going on. A fairly cheap roll, so not much to like there. And as I said, very dry. In fact, as dry as a dead dingo's donga, as we say back in Australia. Extremely dry. Luckily, I've got some water to wash it down because I'm going to need it, I'll tell you. Let's go in for another bite. Bit of squid on its own. It's tender, as I said, seems fresh, well seasoned, can't complain about the squid. But this on its own, it's just too dry. It needs some mayonnaise, some garlic mayonnaise, alioli, some butter even, maybe even some olive oil to save this roll because it's hard to get down. But the squid's not bad. We'll leave that one. Right, let's move on to number 2. I reckon I'm going to go for the morcilla, which is jam-packed. They fry the black sausage, throw in some egg, and this is the result. Let's dig into this one. So this one, apart from being too full of ingredients because they all spilled out when I took a bite, it doesn't have much taste. Needs more salt, needs more seasoning. That's my biggest complaint about this one. You can taste the blood sausage, the morcilla. You can taste the egg. But again, nothing else in here apart from that. And again, unfortunately, like the first one, it's just too dry. The same bread as before, so again, no variation there, but it needs more salt. It needs some flavour. There's nothing going on. We'll try some of this blood sausage and egg on its own. Excuse my fingers. Where's the moisture? Where's the salt? That's the question. So, let's put those two over there. Now, hopefully this one is going to redeem itself. This is the lomo con pimientos fritos, pork loin with fried red and green peppers. Let's have a closer look. So the same type of roll. We've got a piece of pork loin. We've got the red and green peppers here, which have been fried. Looks a little bit more moist than the last two. So we'll see if that is the case. But I'm going to be honest, the first two have been a bit of a letdown. All right, let's dig into this one here and see if I can squeeze that pork loin inside, because I don't want it coming out on my plate like the last disaster. Let's dig in. So straight off the bat, the flavors that are coming out of this little roll, this little montadito, are a lot better. The pork is well cooked, maybe a little bit overcooked for my liking, and the peppers are tasty. They're well seasoned, they have been well roasted, so this sandwich could be the highlight of the day. Let's go back in again. Absolutely, because this one has cracked the code. It's moist. Because what's happened, if you can see in there, is that the juices from not only the pork loin, but also from the red and green peppers or capsicums has moistened the bread. That's the secret. The first one was too dry, as I said repeatedly. The second one was also a bit too dry, even though it didn't look dry. I'll come back and give you my final review at the end, but this one here is going to get the highest score. I'm going to tell you right now. The bread, however, leaves a lot to be desired. This roll has been sitting here for about 5 or 6 minutes, and the bread's already gone hard. So it was probably frozen, it was stuck in a microwave, it's come out, and it's as hard as a rock. Can you hear that? Hard as a rock. So that's not in its favour. But the rest, bit of pork loin on its own. One of the best ways to eat pork in Spain, without a doubt. Cinta de lomo, unbelievable on its own, or in a decent sandwich. Decent sandwich. Done and dusted. I can't do any more of that bread. So that's what's left of the third roll that I tried. And the other two here, you can get an idea, more than half of this one, plus all the filling, and the bocata de calamares. I'm just going to have the squid that's inside here, just not to waste it. So, my final thoughts on the rolls at this coffee shop or bar, whatever you want to call it, El Brillante, the diamond. I'm going to say I am underwhelmed at what I have just eaten. If anybody says that these are the best sandwiches or best rolls in Madrid, they've got no idea what they are talking about. The first thing I tried, that mini squid roll, was just too dry. As I said, as dry as a dead dingo's donga, as we say in Australia. Luckily, I had a bottle of water on hand because I needed it badly to try and get through that mini roll. It was only small. I would hate to see what the big one's like because, as I said, for me, too dry. It needs mayonnaise or something on that bread roll to keep it soft and to help it go down. The squid on its own was reasonable. It was well salted, well seasoned. It was tender, can't complain about that. But the two things together were too dry. So I'm going to give that 2.5 out of 5. So one of the worst scores that I have given so far. And as I said, anybody who thinks that that is the best roll here in Madrid, and I've heard people say, you've got to try the bocata de calamares, they are kidding themselves, I will say. Maybe they're better in other places, but here, this particular place, El Brillante in La Gavia, not up to scratch. Sorry for that. The second one that I tried, the morcilla, the revuelto de morcilla, in the same type of roll. There was too much filling in that one. It all came spilling out, and it's wasted there sitting on my plate. And the other thing about that is that it wasn't seasoned well either. Very, very dry too. I was expecting more moisture in the revuelto because sometimes they can be quite moist, but that particular one had virtually no moisture at all. And again, with the dry roll, a bad combination. So 2.5 out of 5. The same as the first one. Now, onto the third mini roll that I tried, the pork loin with those roasted peppers. And luckily for me, that roll was a lot better than the other two. In fact, it saved the meal. Was it the best one that I've ever had? Absolutely not. Was it the worst? Absolutely not. But it was the best one of the three that I have had today, simply because it was moist. The pork loin was well cooked. The roasted peppers were well roasted. They were seasoned well, and there was some juice coming out of the roll. The roll was as hard as a rock, which obviously is not in its favor. But apart from that, it was okay. Edible, I will say, because the other two were barely that. So for that mini roll, I'm going to give it a whopping 3.5 out of 5. Let's have a look at the pricing. So I showed you the prices earlier, but basically this is it here. So total price, €12.60. The first mini roll, the mini squid roll, was €3.60. Probably €2 overpriced in my opinion. The mini lomo con pimientos, the mini pork loin with the roasted peppers, €3.60. I'll pay that, no problem at all. And the last one, the mini revuelto de morcilla, €3.20, probably €2 overpriced in my opinion, that particular roll. Bottle of water, €2.20, again, overpriced. So I reckon I have been ripped off with the food that I have eaten today, €12.60. I reckon that's a meal that should cost around €6 or €7 tops. But we're in a fancy shopping center, so I can understand that the overheads might be quite high, hence the prices. But if we were at a street level, I wouldn't be paying that for what I have had today. In general, I'm going to give this place a solid 2.5 out of 5. And I wouldn't recommend coming to this one, and probably if this is the standard of the ones in Madrid, I wouldn't recommend going there either. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. I would love to hear your comments on what I have eaten today. Have you tried the famous bocadillo de calamares in Madrid, the bocata de calamares? If so, let me know what you thought of it in the comment section below. Was it too dry, or do you like a dry roll? Let me know in that comment section below. Would you try the other things that I ate today also? Would you try that blood sausage and egg combination in a roll? Would you try the pork loin with the roasted peppers? Let me know if you would in that comment section below, or if you wouldn't try the rolls that I have had today. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Hit the subscribe button to become a subscriber of the channel. I would appreciate that a lot, and also turn on notifications to know every time I release a video. Until the next one, hasta luego and buen provecho from Madrid.